Hello, my name is Mahauman Matobo from Botswana for the Rustenburg Film Festival Masterclass 2021. This presentation is based on the second task for our assignments. The task is to analyze two prominent film writers, namely Blake Snyder and Syd Field. These two prominent screenwriters made a huge difference in the filming industry. My hopes and aspirations for this masterclass is to gain enough knowledge and network to enable me to be able to write and produce films of high quality that can be acquired by the networks such as Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon, just to name a few. Following this introduction are my colleagues' presentations on who Blake Snyder and Syd Field are, what made them prominent and famous, what were their motivations, the juxtaposition of their theories, and the importance of story. I hope you learn and enjoy.
Black Snyder and Field, those are the two guys, American guys, the screenwriters who wrote several books, who conducted several workshops. These are the guys who, both of them, they are late now. The other one died in 2018. The other one died around 2017 and 18. So, but they were the best. They left the legacy. The two guys, the Field and the Blake. As Blake was made famous by his the series of the book of the Save the Cat. You know, these guys, Save the Cat, it made him very famous, and then he was writing the screenwriting for his books that were under Save the Cat. Save the Cat is it's his signature book, so he made other book on Save the Cat about screen They were making a workshop all over the world. That's what made Blake's famous. Also, his video are still there on YouTube on how to make how to write the screen. Field also the same thing. He got videos online all over the online, even though he's late. But the video are still there on how to write the screen, how to write the screen. That is what writing the screen and introducing new ideas on writing made them very, very famous. Yeah, the Blake Snyder came with the theory of 15 beats. So the theory is 15 beats, while Field came with a theory of paradigms. So the difference between Blake and Field is that the other one came with a paradigm, the other one came with a beat. So this guy, he got 15 beats. The Blake came with a theory of 15 beats of how to write a story, and then Field came with three main sections by how to make more story exciting, how to make a story more engaging to the viewers. That is why they came about. They came with the few. The story, it must be drawing the audience, so that the audience may feel as part of the story that they are writing. So these guys, they were inspired to bring more life to the story, to bring more energy to the storyline. We are not saying maybe the past writer they will not bring energy, but in life things changes. So these guys also came with invented a new way. They introduced some of the things that are being used today to make a story more engaging and more interesting than before. So they came with a new theory. Now the structure, it gives the story order. You see, it holds the story together. It arrange the specific chronological order to elicit the perfect emotional response from the viewers or from the audiences. And then the structure refer like to the character, events, and the reaction of the people who are watching. So that is why the structure is very important. It's very key because now the structure glue the story together. For example, if we have a human body, we have the structure which is the bone that is holding the body together. So the teeth are going to be here. So the story almost or the writing, it should be the same so that we can see, okay, this is the whole story now because it got the good structure. So if it does not have the good structure, it's not going to stand. It's going to collapse. It's not going to be the healthy story. It's not going to be exciting. It's not going to have a good plot and a good characterization. So yeah, with that one, I thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Romano Willifir and I am part of the Masterclass. You may ask, how did I become part of it? So I found out about Rustenburg Film Festival this year, and upon registering, a few months later, I found out that there's a Masterclass part of the festival, and I knew that I had to be a part of it. So I came through, met amazing people, and I told them that I want to be part of the Masterclass, and I am. And my inspiration and my hopes for this masterclass is for it to bring out the best in me, for it to shape me and mold me, and make me meet the right people that is gonna add to my hopes and aspirations and my craft as a creative. So yeah, that is what I hope to find in this experience and in this time here. So we were got tasked to talk about two prominent filmmakers and what made them famous. These two filmmakers are namely Blake Snyder and Syd Field. So starting with Blake Snyder, it was only when he returned to Los Angeles where he began writing for the Disney TV series Kids Incorporated. He then went on and wrote multiple screenplays, and it was only in 1989 that the script Stop or My Mom Will Shoot sold for $500,000. He went on selling 12 original screenplays and was named one of Hollywood's most successful spec screenwriters, among other through his Save the Cat trilogy of books on screenwriting and story structure. He became one of the most popular writing members in the film industry. Moving on to Syd Field, his screenplays, the foundation of screenplays, led workshops and seminars about producing soloable screenplays, one of which was produced as the Argentinian film Los Banditos. He wrote and produced the television series Men in Crisis in 1964 and the Vegas nightlife documentary Spree. And he also narrated Hollywood and the Night Stars. So, as you can see, these guys did exceptionally well in their line of work. I hope that I can also, and the rest of my team members, can become part of the history like these men have led the way for the next generation, which is us. So thank you for the opportunity. Enjoy it, and let's move on to the next.
Hello, my name is Solufelo Khumulimo Mtombeni and I am from Rustenburg and I'm one of the candidates for the Rustenburg Film Festival 2021, which is also known as RFF21. Now, why am I here and how did I end up taking part here? It's because I have the passion and the love for the industry, the film movie industry. And that is because of my background where when I grew up, my father used to expose us to film watching. We would go every weekend. We knew we went to dial a movie where we would hire a movie which was coming in VCR back then. So I've always had a passion for that. We watch different movies, and ever since then, that's when the love came about. And when I saw the registration to be part of the Rustenburg Film Festival on the Facebook page, I didn't hesitate to apply. I registered, and hence I made it to the masterclass, which I'm grateful for. Now, my hopes and aspiration in this project, or in this project or program that we are in, the masterclass, is that I would like to harness my passion, my love for this, by learning as much as possible, by getting all the information, the skills, and the aspirations. My future aspirations is for me to break into this film industry and be one of the leading women as well in the industry, both nationally in South Africa and eventually globally. So I'm excited about that. And just to continue, we are doing task 2, which we were given to analyze the 2 prominent writers, which is Mr. Blake Snyder and Mr. Syd Field. Now, getting straight into it, I'm going to start off with Mr. Blake Snyder, and my task is to talk about what was their motivation. Mr. Blake Snyder is very interesting because his father, Kenneth Snyder, was in the film industry, and himself, when he was 8 years old, he featured into as a voice artist for an animated feature. So that inspired him heavily to become part of the film industry, and hence telling and compelling stories of becoming one of the best script writers and screenwriters that we've ever known. Even when he passed, we're still talking about him even now. So with Mr. the second scriptwriter, which is Mr. Syd Field, his story is a bit different and interesting in a sense that his uncle was actually the one who was in the film industry, because his uncle worked over 50 years in the 21st Fox film company. But with himself, Mr. Syd Field, he wanted to be a doctor, and he actually went and enrolled to be a doctor. Just when he was there, somebody told him to try out film, which he reluctantly went and tried. And when he was there, he says in his first year, he met a mentor, Mr. Jean Reno, who is the filmmaker, the script writer of the movie called Grand Illusion, which is a movie about the French and German war. So when he had his story, when he was motivating them about how to become the best filmmaker or a script writer, he was actually excited, and he never looked back when Mr. Jane Reno told them to say, you know what, don't paint life with a picture. Don't put a picture there, because the world will come with different pictures about it. But paint with life, meaning go and explore life, and then come up with something that after you can now get and put out there in writing and in paper after you've explored what's happening out there. And after even that, after maybe you come up with an idea, then you write it down. Just maybe have three of going through that writing and fixing, polishing, erasing, checking again, adding or subtracting again. Don't just at your first attempt think that's it. And with that idea, he said, the most important thing, once you have that finished product there, now look for cliches. Never ever settle for a cliche. Always move away from cliche, meaning move away from something that has been done before. Put an element in it that will be extraordinary and mind-blowing. That is what motivated him to keep being who he was up until he left. He passed on, and that is why even today the CNN and Hollywood still call him the guru of screenwriting or scriptwriter. That is Mr. Syd Field. So that is it for me, and thank you.
Dumelang, my name is Gaupalelu Letau, and I am in this masterclass for the reason because I love film, but as a cinematographer, or rather an aspiring one, because I just came in as a photographer. When I saw the criteria for the masterclass, I thought to myself, I am none of the above, and therefore this opportunity is not for me. Until I found myself in one of the classes by Mabato, of which I fell in love with the content, and I thought to myself, I've always wanted to study film, so why not use the opportunity presented to me at that present moment? And that is the reason why I want to continue with the masterclass, because I believe in backing up passion, or rather dreams, with education, even if it means learning from those that have been in the field for quite some time now. My hopes and aspirations from this masterclass, that I learn a lot about myself as a creative. Number 2, I learn about the art of filmmaking and also the fundamentals of filmmaking, and also to contribute to the film industry. Let's get into our tasks. So I had to differentiate between the theories of Blake and Syd. Now, with the two screenwriters, you would find that one gets straight to the point and the other gets more into detail of the story. With Syd, you'd find that he uses the 3-act structure, of which is Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. And with Blake, he uses the 15-beat structure, meaning that each act has its own depth, where he gets into, the matter of the story of each act. So with Act 1, we'll differentiate with just the first act. Let's start with the first act, where the setting is introduced, the setup is introduced, of course. And you'd find with Syd, he introduces the setup by introducing the characters. The story is established from that point on, and the setting is basically explained. Whereas with Blake, he opens the image, the theme is stated, there's a setup, there's a catalyst, there's a debate, and he breaks it into 2. So you'd see with the 2 screenwriters, one gets straight to the point, the other goes into detail. With Act 2, it was interesting to find that Blake split it up into 2 sections, and that's Act 2, and Syd also just went straight into the point, which was the confrontation part. And the last act being the wrapping up, they both wrap it up. I think with just Blake, he prefers to get into more depth with Act 1 and 2, whereas Syd just gets straight to the point with Act 1 and 2. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tsolofelo Evelyn Mabelane, and I'm from Bapong, which is in Brits. I am a writer, a director, as well as a proud product of the Sakai Script-to-Screen program. I have been in the creative industry for a little over 3 years now, and in those 3 years I've been in productions such as Mashesha the Fraudster 3, The Unrest, and a short film that I directed myself called Presage. So in South Africa, less than 30% of directors are female. The reason for that is obviously debatable, but the reason that I joined the Masterclass program is to be one of the women who will change those stats. The industry needs more female directors to take up space, and I am here to be one of those who are willing to do that. So today I'm going to focus on the importance of a structure in a story. So what is the importance of a structure in a story? Syd Field popularized the 3-act structure. That's Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. So in Act 1, we have the setup of the story, where we meet our hero and we learn of their flaws, their internal flaws. And then Act 2 is the confrontation, where our hero confronts their internal flaw. And then Act 3 is the resolution, where the hero now overcomes that internal flaw. And then we have Blake Snyder, who went a little deeper and introduced the 15 points, plot points of a story. And then we have the opening and the theme, the inciting incident and the break into Act 2, the midpoint and the crisis, as well as the finale and the end. So there's a lot more than the ones that I did mention, but this is actually just a break of the 3 acts. So this is not different from what Syd Field popularized. It's actually the same thing, but Blake Snyder broke it down into 15 plot points. So it's a little bit more detailed. The story structure is an organizational framework of a story. And it's like a thread that stitches the story together. It stitches the plots, as well as the depiction and the characters and their dialogue together. So the story structure actually uniforms all of that, right? So imagine if you have characters that are talking about something that's not even related to the storyline. That would not make sense. That is the reason there needs to be a structure, so that when characters start talking, then the dialogue, whatever it is that is being said, actually connects with the story. It connects with the setup. It connects with the mood of the story as well. So the structure also allows the story to unfold and to arouse audiences' interest in the narrative units on different levels. So it helps not to confuse the audience as well. That is another important part of a story structure. In simpler words, we need a story structure, also referred to as a narrative structure, so that our story links up and makes sense. The structure of a story is like a backbone or a skeleton of a story. So your story needs it to survive. So look at the story structure as the skeleton of a body. If your body does not have a skeleton, it doesn't have a form, basically. So that's the reason that we need the story structure to give our story a form. Thank you.